Welcome back, welcome home. It's Justin, your local real estate agent, and we gotta talk. Let's talk about this $100,000 that you might be able to qualify for when buying your home, but it's not as easy as it appears. First things first, HPD, Housing and Preservation Development, has the HomeFirst program, or if you're using the whole title, HomeFirst Down Payment Assistance Program. It may now offer you up to $100,000 in a forgivable loan. Basically functions as a grant as long as you meet the requirements and follow all the guidelines that you can use towards your home purchase. Now, it's not brand new. It has existed for some time. The $100,000 part of it is new because the old cap was $40,000. Big jump. And it'll make a big difference in this housing market. It's available now. We can see if you qualify and see if it makes sense for you. So let's talk through it. First, we're gonna talk about how you actually apply for the program to see if you're eligible. You're gonna have to go to Neighborhood Housing Services of New York, also known as NHS. They are the ones who are administering the program on behalf of HPD. This program is only if you are buying in New York City. It doesn't apply outside of our 5 boroughs, okay? NHS has offices in all 5 boroughs. I'll drop a link down below so you can check them out and get the home buyer education that you'll need. Home buyer education is an 8-hour class, and then you'll be meeting with the housing counselor who's gonna determine if you are both mortgage ready and also grant eligible. Okay, what are they going to use to determine your eligibility? There's actually a long list of things they have to go through. Let's talk through them. First, you have to be a first-time home buyer. Now, that does not mean you have to be a first-time home buyer. Our definition of first-time home buyer just means that you have not owned a home in the last 3 years. Okay, so if you owned a home 5 years ago, sold it 5 years ago, and have not owned the home since then, you are now again a first-time home buyer and you may be eligible for this program. Of course, there are income limits in the program. You can't make more than 80% of the median AMI. So maybe I'll just have this showing on the screen so you can see what the limits are depending on your household size. There's also a limit on the price of the property, which is common with these down payment assistance programs. With this money, you can buy 1 family, 2 family, 3 family, 4 family, co-op, or a condo. So you got 6 different options in terms of purchasing. You have to contribute at least 1% of the purchase price towards the purchase. So if you're buying a house for $500,000, you gotta come up with at least $5,000. For your down payment, you have to give at least 3%, minimally. Not you personally, but that's what must be in the contract. So maybe you only have the 1%. So you only have the $5,000, right? So you give your $5,000 as a deposit, and there's gonna be 2% more due at the closing table, which in this case, we're hoping is gonna come from the down payment assistance. Quick sidebar for the down payment requirement. If you have a loan that allows you to put 0% down, like a VA loan, you don't have to put anything down to use this program. Another thing is for the veterans, if you have your DD 214 and it shows that you had honorable service, then you do not have to be a first-time home buyer to use this program. There's also gonna be a housing quality standard that must be met in order for you to use this program, okay? Can't use it with a renovation loan. House has to be move-in ready. Another big thing, if you're borrowing up to $40,000, you need to live in the house as your primary residence for at least 10 years. If you're borrowing over $40,000 up to that $100,000, you need to live in the property as your primary residence for at least 15 years. Okay, so we got through generally the eligibility criteria. There's more stuff. Talk to your housing counselor or hit up the link below. I'll put down the fact sheet there for you. But you can see that there are some steps you're gonna have to take to qualify for the program. Now, in the event that you do qualify for the program, you wanna know how much money are you getting? I would wanna know too. You're gonna be able to get up to 20% of the purchase price of your home or $100,000, whichever is lower. All right, so if you're buying a home for $500,000, 20% of that, $100,000. If you're going for $600,000, 20% of that is $120,000. Check that math. But you can't get 120. You're gonna be capped at the 100,000 tops. Okay. Now let's talk about the benefits of this potentially free money, as long as you follow the guidelines, because there are many benefits. And then we'll talk about potential drawbacks, and you can see what makes the most sense for you. Benefit number one, is it better to put a larger down payment on a house? Yes, you can get a lower monthly payment. That is a good thing. Homes are expensive, taxes are high, insurance is expensive. You want to save as much money as possible. So the less that you're borrowing that you have to pay back interest on, the lower your monthly payment will be. The more affordable the house should be for you. It's a good thing. If you hit that 20% benchmark, you can get rid of your private mortgage insurance. Got a link down below about our PMIs, a whole bunch of topics about PMI and what it actually is. So you can check that out too after you finish this one. But you can get rid of that. You might even be able to get rid of it with less than 20% down payment, because you can funnel the assistance towards covering that. And that also helps reduce your monthly payment. This can save you some money out of pocket, right? Things happen in houses. So if you have more money on hand as your emergency fund, that's good. Another reason it might be good to get this down payment assistance is it might eliminate the need for seller's concession, which can be very helpful. It is a little tricky in this instance, and we will talk about why now. Okay, so we talked about benefits, but there are some potential drawbacks here that you need to strongly consider when you're looking to get this assistance. First drawback, there's gonna be a lien on your house. Okay, that's a big deal. So now you go to sell or refinance, that lien is there and it's stopping you until it's removed. Now, easiest way to remove it, right, is you go up to HPD. Hey, I've lived in the house as my primary residence for 10 years or 15 years or 20 years or 13 years or whatever, however long you've been there. Please remove this lien from my house. And as long as you met the criteria, they should remove it for you, no problem. That's good. Now you can refinance, sell as you see fit. You can move out the house as your primary residence. Cool. Now, if you're looking to do something before then, or maybe you move out the house as your primary residence before then, and somehow HPD finds that out. I don't know how, I'm not in the streets like that. I'm just telling you, if they somehow find out, now they might be doing what's called a recapture fee on you. They might be looking for some or all of that money that they gave you as assistance back. That's after you own the house. But during the home buying process itself, there's a couple of kinks we got here in this system. Your inspector who does your general home inspection can fill out a report, HPD specific report, and send it to them to make sure that the house meets the standards that they have in place. It is not the inspection report that your inspector is sending to you with all the pictures and 80 pages and all of it. It's not that. The report they're filling out is an HPD form, 17 pages long from what I've been told, no pictures allowed. Okay, so you want to make sure there's an inspector who is familiar with the program and the process and knows exactly how to fill out that form, right? And is willing to do it as well and send it over to HPD. Okay, they're gonna need that form at least 90 days before a closing. Second thing, this is gonna hurt for me to tell you because it's tough, but remember when you did that home buying education and you met with the counselor and they said, hey, you are pre-approved for this great forgivable loan, a lot of money we can give you. Well, you don't actually apply for the grant itself until you're in contract on your house and you got the commitment letter from the bank. So if the bank has not given you the commitment letter, you cannot submit your application. And since this is basically a grant program, funds are subject to availability, not guaranteed. That's a big deal. Okay, why? Because if you needed this money to purchase the house, maybe you needed the rest of your down payment and closing costs, and that's how it's written in the contract that you're paying the rest of your down payment and your closing costs, and you don't have that money, well, then that deal goes down the drain, right? So they might just run out of money. Or you may have been eligible when you first met with the housing counselor, but it's taken a while to get a house. It's taken a while to get a house under contract. And now when you go back, they're checking your eligibility again. Guess what? You work some overtime. Now you make too much money. A member of your household's not gonna be there anymore. So now you're in a lower income bracket. You got a promotion. Salary went up. So there's some things that could have taken place. Maybe you had a credit issue. That mean you no longer qualify for this assistance. That's a big deal, right? So now think of it on the seller side. They want to sell their house for the most money possible with the easiest process typically, right? That's why cash buyers are always like number one, because they could just give them the money. You don't have to worry about going through a bank. Don't have to worry about that whole process. But now with this assistance program, not only are you going through the bank, one of the pre-approved lenders that works with the program, not just any bank you find, but after the bank says, hey, we got your commitment letter, you still need to get approved for the grant. And that's gonna take some time. From what I heard from a counselor I just spoke to, it's gonna be about 30 minutes, excuse me. I wish it was 30 minutes. It's gonna be about 30 days after you submit your application for them to say whether you're approved or not. And then it's gonna be another 30 days probably for them to get the funds ready for you, so you can actually get to the closing. So I was advised that it might make sense for you to tell a seller up front when you're first sent the contract that you would like to have a clause added in that you want to close 90 days after the receipt of your commitment letter, where we might generally see 30 days. Right? So now the seller's like, wait, what's going on? Why did this take so much more time? Oh, it's because I have this grant that I'm using to purchase the house. And now it's conversation of, well, do you need the grant? You need that assistance in order to buy my house? And are we sure you're still gonna qualify? And are we sure that the funds are still gonna be there, even if you do qualify? Because if that's the case, then I'm looking at you as a buyer and I'm seeing 5 other buyers who don't need that entire process and don't need that extra time. I might wanna go with them. They probably do. So this is what makes it really, really tough to use the program. Can't use it for, renovating a home, no 203Ks, sorry, not allowed. And then even if you're pre-approved in the beginning, doesn't mean you're gonna be approved in the end, or that money will still be available in the end when that time finally comes for you to close on your house. So that deal might fall apart, or sellers might just say, you know what, I got other options on the table. I don't wanna go this route. It's gonna take too long and there's too many questions around it. Keeping it real, I'm just telling you what I know, folks. So you gotta be prepared for that push and pull. Might be a bit of a struggle if you're using it. The good thing is there are other programs available that may be easier to use. Sony May, of course, is my personal favorite. And you can check out that video next on Sony May to learn about a program that you can use that does not require all these additional steps that take a lot longer and could jeopardize the chances of your offer being accepted in what is a very competitive seller's market. All right, so check that video out next. I also put down a link to the guide that I have for down payment assistance programs. Yes, it has this program listed, $100,000. We gotta have that in there. So you can feel free to check that out and see other options available to you. And if you have any questions, I'm here. Feel free to reach out to me. In the meantime, slam that like button, hit the subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.